Are you a professional pillow fighter? Or a 9-to-5 low-cost time travel agent? Or maybe real estate sales on Mars is your profession? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is you do, however complex or intricate, Monday.com can help you organize, orchestrate, and make it more efficient. Monday.com is the one centralized platform for everything work-related. And with Monday.com, work is just easier. Monday.com, for whatever you run. Go to Monday.com to learn more.
Before we start, I just want to say that we record these podcasts weeks in advance. So I wanted just to acknowledge that what's going on in this country is sad, to say the least. The systemic racism in this country needs to be addressed 100%. No justice, no peace. Black lives matter. Let's change the world and make it a better place. Now, let's laugh.
Well, I don't see the point in waiting any longer. So let's bring her out. The star attraction, the one you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Miss Judy Gold.
Hey everyone, welcome to Kill Me Now. I'm Judy Gold, your host, and I'm so excited. Okay, first of all, I've been trying to get this guest on forever, and it's like, I see him often because I do his radio show, and and I'm like, will you do my podcast? And he's like, yes, but he's really bad at communicating, which we'll discuss that later, because he's a guy. So he'll go, yes, but then he'll say yes, but then he won't follow up. He's just whatever, but he's fucking hilarious. I've known him since he started doing stand-up. He is a delight. He's one of the good guys in this business. He loves lesbians. He really respects women. I would say he's one of the handful of straight male comics who have the utmost respect for women. I just fucking love him, and don't tell him. But ladies and gentlemen, he has a new book out, which is fucking amazing. Well, it's his second book, actually. Netflix special. He's done so much shit. I can't even tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, the NPR host. Well, he did get to host, which we are going to discuss the how I can never be on Wait, Don't Tell Me, because it fucking pisses me off. But ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Tom Papa is here. Woo! Tom,
Finally.
I'm so excited.
Doing it. We're really, really doing it.
It took a pandemic for him to be fucking available to me. That's all I have to say. But
I've always been available.
You have an excellent work ethic. Tom, your book is so good.
Thank you.
Are you getting like amazing?
I'm getting good love for it, for sure, which is it's called You're Doing Great and Other Reasons to Stay Alive.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
It's such a great read. It's a fun read. And it's funny. Like it's so perfect for now. And it's very positive. As you know, I'm very positive. I look at the bright side.
Yes. It's what everybody says.
It's like perfect for now. It's so perfect. I actually bought one. I wasn't sent one. Like I'm sure all your other fucking friends got free. But you're doing great. Yeah.
Did you write a review? Did you write a review on Amazon?
Oh, I will. And you're going to write a review on mine, right?
Yes, of course.
It's coming out in July. I have such a big nose. Anyway, Tom, we have a lot in common.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give me that. When are we doing your radio show again? That's my favorite.
Will you do a live-ish one from home?
Yes.
All right. Then I'm going to hit you up in a week's time.
Do I get to do a skit?
Yes.
All right.
That's all you get to do.
Go fuck yourself. Tom Papa, ladies and gentlemen, is actually Thomas Papa Jr.
Mm-hmm. Someone was on Wikipedia.
Someone does a lot of research anyway, so shut the fuck up. He is a New Jersey native, as am I.
Yes.
He is Italian. I'm not, but
close.
I grew up next to the Di Savinos and the Antonellis, and there's a thing about Jews and Italians in New Jersey. We are one. We are 100%. We are a unit.
All my girlfriends were Weinsteins and Feinsteins.
Really? Did you go to a lot of bar and bat mitzvahs when you were?
Sure did.
Yes, you did. You are also one of 3 children, and each one of those children is very successful in their own right. So your parents did an excellent job. Now, the one thing I can't find anywhere is your childhood. Like, I know that you were a Jersey kid. I know stuff from the book, but it seems like it was kind of, now when I say uneventful, I mean uneventful in the, you weren't raped and pillaged and homeless and do you know what I mean? So, but you're smart and I don't know. I just like, it was, and I can't find anything about your mother.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder why.
Maybe you're trying to hold it on, keep it away from everyone. So,
well, I don't control the internet.
Shut the fuck up. So you, oh, I forgot the Weinstein for the bar mitzvah. All right, this is the Jew bell. Anything remotely Jewish gets a bell.
Oh, okay.
You have a brother?
No. Okay,
this is shit then.
That's come up recently, though, so there must be something on Wikipedia or something.
And it's like, and I kept looking. I did extra research. I was like, I never knew he had. All right, so
the sportscaster or something.
Yeah, and he looks nothing like you.
He's not related.
So, all right, are you the oldest?
I am.
Yes, I knew that. You're one of 3.
Yes.
You have 2 younger sisters. How, unless they're they thems. You were born in Passaic, but did you grow up in Montvale or you went to?
Nearby. Montvale's where my high school was.
Yes.
Pascack Hills, but I grew up in Park Ridge and Woodcliff Lake, which border Montvale.
And what did your parents do? I know your father had money because you discuss it in your book, but was it a typical mother staying home and raising the children, father working? What was your childhood like?
It was, my father was worked in sales for all these early communication companies, like all of the stuff that became everything that we're doing now. He was in the early days of all of that. And he worked in sales doing that and hustled around. And my mother went back to school to get her college degree when I was like probably kindergarten, first grade.
Wow.
She started going back to school, probably maybe second grade, something like that. Because I think she graduated a little, like it took her like 9 years, but she was wanted to go back to school. My father was this traditional Italian dad, and my mother was that, but she got into feminism and going back to school, and she started doing all of that stuff, and then graduated from college before I graduated from high school, and then she started her own advertising agency, a small. So
where did she go to college?
In New Jersey, Ramapo.
Oh yeah, Ramapo. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. In
I went
Jersey.
to Rutgers. You went to Rider.
Yeah,
folks.
Jersey.
So that's interesting that your mother was a feminist and married to a traditional Italian man. That must have.
Yeah, which was
intense.
Which was good. I think it kind of had this traditional family, but you had a mom who saw more for herself.
Do you feel like that your mother doing that and like going to college and being a feminist and starting made you the sort of very gentleman-like lover of women?
Yes, that was definitely a part of it, and also having 2 sisters.
2 sisters, right? But
who were younger, who I had to like was taught to respect and care for them.
Right. How was your parents' marriage? Was it good?
It was good. They were high school sweethearts. They met in Clifton, New Jersey.
Oh my God. It's a whole New Jersey tale. Get Cory Booker on the line, folks.
And they're still together now. They're in their
How long have they been married?
Early 70s.
What?
They've been married
That's
50.
it?
Yeah. It started in high school and then they went right to
I know, but it's so, like, I envy that I had my father was 48, my mother was 41 when I was born. They're both dead.
Right. I know
and I didn't get to know my father that well. I mean, he never saw me become successful or anything. And
right.
And my mother's dead. Did I mention that? And which, as you know, when my mother died, Joy Behar was like, "Yeah, what are you gonna do? You're gonna have no material." So she's not even Jewish, but but that must be pretty amazing. So you don't worry about
cool.
your marriage.
I remember when I was even younger, in high school and college, and people would meet my parents, be like, "Well, your parents are so young. They seem so young." And I remember always kind of feeling good about that because I guess subconsciously it meant, they're going to be around for a long time.
Right.
And they're doing well. They're holed up in their little townhouse and they're doing their thing, and they still go out on motorcycle rides in their early 70s. Yeah, my father rides a bike and my mom gets on the back and they go.
Oh my God.
And it is one of those kind of lucky things that it's
so
nice.
You knew your parents were younger than everyone else's parents.
Yeah, it felt like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which gives you an odd sense of security.
Do you feel because Elisa, my lover, her parents were 21 and 22 when she was born.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I feel like we had completely opposite childhoods, but also that she is in a way more responsible because she sort of had to grow up with her parents. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because it's when you're little, though, when I was little, I still saw them as parents,
right?
As this dominant, huge superheroes. But it's looking back now and being like, they were babies. They were such babies. My parents, when I was I was graduating school and they were, just turning 40, and it was just I can't believe how little they were.
Way.
Yeah, I can't believe how little they were, but to me, it was always just their parents.
They were your parents, and they were responsible.
Yeah, I don't feel like I became responsible because I needed to back them up. Maybe my mom a little. She tells very funny stories about when she was first starting out and things were going, and she was always looking to me for advice and for stuff. And I have no memory of that, but she tells these very funny stories of, looking to this 4-year-old and being like, "What do you think, Tom? How do we get the car fixed?"
Wow, that's hilarious.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Were you popular in school? Was it normal? Was it an idyllic sort of upbringing?
Yeah.
And you didn't know depression, no anxiety?
No, very genetically lucky. I did not have to deal with any kind of depression or any of that stuff.
I don't know how the fuck you became a comic. All right. And then, you said you went to bar mitzvahs. Were you involved in sports, the theater? What was your... I was
very funny as a kid. I knew from second grade-ish that I was actively funny, going in front of the class and being funny and
loving it
loving it. And then, but I was also an athlete at the same time.
What'd you play?
Playing football when I was in kindergarten.
Ew.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine you as a football player.
I know. That's what everybody says. My father played football and he was really successful and played through college.
He did?
And then and he loved it. And that was like our connection. I love being an athlete. I loved working out and I played basketball. I played track. I did. And I was really good. And because I was big, I was the same size now as I was when I was like in sixth grade. So I was the captain of the football team and the class clown.
What? And did you do well in school? Like grades?
I did okay. I just didn't, whatever, it was enough to keep my parents off my back. Like if I got C pluses, B minuses, I would be okay.
Are you fucking kidding? No. Not Jewish. If I got a 99 on a test, my mother, why didn't you get 100? Who else got 100? Who else and I was like, oh my God, can I fucking ever fulfill anything?
No.
Okay. No. So I can't believe you were so athletic. Okay. Yeah.
And it was like, it was suburban New Jersey, northern New Jersey, suburban
Which is
New
what
Jersey.
made me like, did you have a girl do you remember the kid that got picked on and was tortured?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that was me. That was me.
Really?
Yes, it was awful. Did you ever come to that person's defense? Or
Oh, yeah.
You did?
That was my thing. I went through like a year. There was like a year where I was aggressive and a jerk and would pick on other kids. But I quickly learned in junior high that wasn't cool. And I befriended I have this thing in my life where all of my closest friends were tiny. They were small and they would get picked on, and I would hang around them and just wait for somebody to mess with them and then go after them. Sometimes it was like a wise ass kid who would start trouble just so I would be able to fight for them. So that there was shades of it not being cool, but I was totally attracted always to small oddballs.
Okay, but I wasn't small. And
you weren't small, but I would
be friends with
I would have been friends with you. I would have been friends with you.
I think you would have been friends with me. There was one guy I remembered that, because I was in the marching band, and he was real, shut the fuck up. And he was really handsome and really popular. And he played a brass instrument, so he was kind of cool. I played clarinet, so. And I remember one day, and he was really nice to me and smart, and he said, we were in the parking lot of the school, and he was like, hey, you want to drive my car? And I was like, oh my God. And it was just like, this popular guy is paying attention. I couldn't believe it, but I bet you were like that kind of guy.
I had a guy, I was very into being an athlete for sure, but I was also very into being funny and being friends with everybody. That was I was popular, but I worked hard at being friends with everybody. And just to pat myself on the back, because it's such a cool story, I had a guy come for my first book, came to a book signing. Yeah. And he was a kid I went to high school with. And he stood up at this book signing and talked about how when he came to school, he was kind of different. He had he was just a different kid, and people were picking on him. And that I came to his defense as like this popular kid. And then I came and backed everyone off and supported him and became his friend and looked out for him. And he's sitting there like a, 45-year-old man.
Right, because you never forget
telling the story. It made me feel like maybe I was a pretty cool guy.
Did you remember him?
Yes.
I've wanted to do a show for my, entire adult life about bullying, about kids meeting their childhood bullies. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like the bullied, like me, I remember everything, even though I fake that I don't. When I'm around, and I feel like the people who were the bullies don't even have no idea the effect they had.
No way.
You know what I mean? And I remember I did one of my one-person shows, the Judy Show, My Life is a Sitcom, and I talk about, being bullied at school. And one of these girls I went to high school with came up to me. She had come I was at the Williamstown Theater Festival, and she came up to me after. She waited and she said, I'm, Mindy. Every fucking girl was named Mindy. And do you remember me? And every time I see someone from high school who was fucking mean to me, I'm like, you look really familiar. But in my head, I'm like, you fucking ass,
You knew her.
Yeah. And she said, was I ever mean to you? And I was like, no, you weren't, but you hung around with all the jerks that were. But it was like, she had no idea. She had no idea.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, you don't, and it's kind of interesting as we're talking about it because, I was big in sports and kind of aggressive. And like I said, I had a moment of I could pick on other kids if I wanted to.
So you
and then
could
I
have gone
shifted.
either way. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I shifted and I didn't. And it's probably because my father was, he was very, strong and aggressive guy. He was very, but he must have, but he had a sensitivity to him also, is as strict as he was. And he was, really strict and,
he was really
tough.
Strict.
Oh yeah. Big time. And, but he had a, respect other people kind of thing. I probably, if he had been a jerk, I probably would have gone that way.
Right.
And I'm just speaking right now without even thinking about it and clearing up in my head what he did, but it obviously went the other way.
Right.
And but I know for bullies, they usually are bullied at home. They're usually bullied by that's reinforced or they're abused by their parents or whatever. Right. So I was lucky enough not to have that.
So do you feel like I feel like every comic is really competitive, don't you think?
Yes.
But do you think you got that from sports?
Yeah, definitely. I think I got that from sports for sure. I think sports gave me self-esteem. Sports gave me a work ethic. I had little sayings in junior high of if you want something bad enough, what you have to do to go get it and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. All those.
Well, I know that with Ben, my younger son.
Yeah.
He's going to play basketball for Tulane. Yeah. I gave birth to a Division I athlete and,
amazing.
I know. And I watch him, his work ethic with basketball reminds me so much of me starting out doing stand-up. I want this and I'm going to be the best at it. And I'm going to go out there I don't care where I perform, I see that in him, which is, and I wasn't an athlete, but I was, but he definitely,
but it's the same. You both found something you really liked and it didn't matter.
Right.
All of a sudden you're not doing it for other people. You're doing it for yourself.
And also, but it's so hard for boys to do that. You think about it, he's in high school. He could have gone the other way too. He could have gone smoking pot,
sure.
And been I'd rather have fun with my friends than put all this work in. But he didn't. He was I have a goal.
Because he has good parents.
That's right, bitches. There's a really great story, which I love in your book about your friend Nancy, who you kind of realize this is my first time I kind of have feelings for a girl.
Yeah.
And then your friend,
really young.
Yeah, Emily, who I fucking want to punch her face in. And when I was reading it, I was like, oh my God, that's so Tom, that he finds this girl, Nancy. You guys are friends. You're like, oh, this is weird. And then Emily, that you created this whole thing in your head about Emily. So you go in your mother's drawer and steal her jewelry and are I'm going to, because the way you write it is so great. I know men, when you fall in love with a girl, you buy them jewelry.
Right.
And you take them to dinner and this is all the shit you do and you get a box and you put a necklace in and you give it, and your presentation was so bad. You just saw her at school and handed her the box. It wasn't
in fourth grade
after school. Yeah. It wasn't listen,
panicked.
And you see her and you're here. And she's this is ugly. Fuck her. Where is she? Do you know where she is now?
I don't know. That was fourth grade. That was the first time I went out on a limb like that. So I have no idea. I don't know where she is now. I have no idea.
Fuck you, Emily. Asshole.
Emily.
So you graduated.
Why was that so Tom? Why was that so Tom?
That was just so Tom that you did like everything perfect. Like you went, you put it in a box, you were all ready, and then you're like here. And I don't know, it's just so Tom because you're so, I don't know, there's something about you that you're cool. You have this confidence that is so, but you have an amazing amount of confidence and an equal amount of vulnerability. It's just a weird combination. Like most guys are dicks when they have that much confidence. Like you have the confidence, but then you are like a mush bag.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's where the athlete and the artist is, right?
Right. It's such a weird combination. So, all right. So you go through high school, you graduate, you go to Rider College. Did you play sports at college?
No, I went to Rider College because they had no sports.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That's why I went, because I was done with it. When I was done with football senior year, which is, like winter of senior year.
Were you like,
I was done.
Did you went to the prom?
Yes. Always had girlfriends, went to the prom.
Did you make out in the hallways by your locker? I hated that shit.
Yeah, once in a while.
Yeah, with the comb in the back pocket. Remember the big combs in the back pocket? New Jersey was so, like, I feel like growing up in New Jersey is like an experience like growing up nowhere else in the world.
I know, it really is true.
You know?
Yeah, I had I remember one time in fifth grade trying to see like how many buttons down on my shirt.
Oh yeah.
Do I do it so that my medallion can show?
That's so Italian.
It's so Jersey.
I know.
So I went to, but when football was over at senior year, I was done. I was like, all right, that was good. That was my college. That was my sports
What
career.
did your father say?
He was hinting around that I could play Division III. I could keep going, and there's all these other schools that you could go and play football. But I was just done, and I knew, what's the point? I'm not going to be a professional athlete. I wanted to be a stand-up comedian since 7th grade. I want to go towards the arts. And Rider College had a theater department, but they got banned from football for some infraction. And I was like, this is perfect. I can go here. And it's like, it takes the blame off of me because they just don't have it,
Why do you think, what happened in 7th grade that made you want to be a stand-up? Got your first laugh.
I was really funny, and I was with all of these older kids for a summer because everyone went to camp, but we didn't go to camp.
Yeah.
So I was hanging out. Yeah. So I was hanging out. Right. It was a very Jewish neighborhood. Yeah. So everyone left except for like the older kids and me. And this one week, I went into my friend's room, brother's room with all older kids, and they were listening to Steve Martin's "Let's Get Small."
Oh yeah.
On album. And then at the end of that week, I was at my other friend's house, and he had George Carlin's Class Clown.
Yeah.
And it just hit me like, oh, this is a job for grown-ups. Right. You can be funny. That is like, everyone in my life was like in business or whatever. Right. And I was like, I could be a funny person as my career. And that was it. It flipped a switch.
Did you tell anyone?
No.
Yeah, because you knew they'd be like, Tom, shut the fuck up and get, put on your Dago tea. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just turned up funny. in your own little way, you just went to work on being funny.
Did your father walk around in a, Italian, like the t-shirt, the tank?
The white tank? No.
Yeah.
It was, no, he wasn't that. He would wear t-shirts and stuff. But,
right.
But he was.
My father, I never saw him without like a button-down shirt, even with short sleeves. He had a garden. Elisa's always like, your father was gay. I'm like, he wasn't gay. So straight, but he was like a Renaissance man, like.
Right. I like guys like that.
Yeah.
I like guys like that. My father he didn't care what he was wearing. He was definitely like not into, even to this day. It's
I like you because you're very dapper.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think he looks in the mirror.
Right.
This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and you know, sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself, you can process, and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, you know, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it, and you sit there and you wait, and then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome.
I read that you would go to the Jersey Shore for your vacation, like in the summertime, as most New Jersey people do.
Yeah.
We, on our vacations, would get in the car and we would go to some historical place. And my father would have had, like, every minute was planned out. We're going to hear this. We're going to learn about that. You know, it was like, but you said you went to the Jersey Shore and you go to Atlantic City and your father would go gambling and take you were underage, and take you gambling with him.
Yeah, he would. It was like,
how old were you?
Probably 12, 13, like around
Right.
there. And because Atlantic City had just opened up pretty much, you know,
Right.
and there wasn't always gambling. And he loved going and he loved gambling. And I think he saw that if he brought me along, then my wife would, his wife would think,
oh, there
his
you
wife-
go. Freudian slip. Yeah.
his wife would think that it was okay and she would let him go. She hated that he went to go gamble. But if it was a father-son outing,
Right.
took
And
the
you
heat
were
off.
bad luck. You were bad luck to him.
Yeah, I was like, it never made sense to me. I was like, what are people
How
doing?
about how they let you in the casino
I know. I would go in the casino and get drinks.
and smoke cigarettes? I
and
know.
just hang out at the slot
They
machine.
did not give a shit. Did you
No.
ever go to the White House sub shop?
Oh, of course.
I can't.
No.
It's so
Legendary.
good. With the bread, and you're a bread baker. I mean,
yeah.
and then they take the middle out and I can't. I want it right now.
The best.
So you go to Ryder, you take acting, like were you a theater major?
No, I was a communications major.
Right.
And I was but all my time was the theater. I took all the classes. I was in every one of the plays.
Were you like the only straight guy?
No, it wasn't that big of a department. There was, there were some other straight guys.
And you lived there on campus?
I lived on campus for the first 2 years, and then moved off campus for the final 2.
Yeah, very important to do that.
Which people didn't do at Ryder. It wasn't.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like it was unusual that I just had some
commuter school.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at Rutgers there were a lot of dorms, but there were a lot of commuters too. Okay, so I just, it's interesting that when you were talking about George Carlin and you were talking about Steve Martin, and I know Bill Cosby was also an influence for you. He's a great guy, by the way.
The old version, the first version.
You know, what? All right, but I was thinking that you had all these, and I didn't have that. I had Joan Rivers, and I had I would remember seeing Toady Fields and Mom's Mabley, but it was never this plethora of the Bill Cosby thing. I remember I read recently for my book, me, that Jerry Seinfeld said that he can still listen to Bill. Like he has no issue with it at all.
Right.
And that kind of struck me because I know, Bill Cosby was a fucking great, you cannot take away that he was a fucking amazing stand-up, but with the Michael Jackson thing. Did you watch the Michael Jackson thing?
No.
But any music from that period of time on where I know he was diddling, that's what I think about now. It's so weird. But can you listen to the Bill? And
there's first Ian Edwards. Ian Edwards.
I love Ian Edwards. We went to Israel together.
He has the best joke on the Michael Jackson thing. And he says, if you watch that documentary and you still listen to his music, you're a garbage person. I have no respect for you at all. He said, I, on the other hand, can still listen to his music because I will never watch that documentary.
That is so funny. That is so funny. Do you have...
But with Bill Cosby, to be honest, I would not be listening to him anyway. You know what I mean? I was kind of done listening. I loved him as a kid. Fat Albert, The Cosby Show.
Same.
Come On, seeing himself, that amazing album.
Right.
Just so, that amazing special.
Right.
It was all in. And then, I saw him live later on when I started as a comic. I saw him at Carnegie Hall, but that was almost like going to a museum. It wasn't I was done listening to him. I'm not going back and listening to old Cosby albums. So I don't know. I don't.
Okay. I just that yeah. All right.
No, but I know what you mean. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how you separate that stuff. And
it's now we have that with Louis. People are like, I can't listen to Louis because now it's interesting because it's that you have more information on the person. So it really does, especially in stand-up. And I talk about this. Did I mention I wrote a book? But it's I use Coco Chanel as an example. She was a fucking Nazi. She was a Nazi. She was embedded with the Nazis. And yet you go to the synagogue on Rosh Hashanah, they're all wearing Chanel scarves, Chanel bags, Chanel. And it's if she was a comic.
Yeah. The Cosby one's different because it's confirmed, prosecuted,
right.
No doubt, the Woody Allen one is it to me seems more vague because, there's, I don't know, there's no definitive thing on that one.
Right.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
And then there's the people who are so wounded. I think a lot of the people who are that's it, I'm never,
Yeah.
I think they have been wounded in that area, and that's why they act like that. It's really, it's just, we get held to a higher standard. So you went to Ryder, you were in the theater department, but a communications major, and you wanted to be an actor. And I read somewhere that you said, I wanted to be an actor, but then this is I'm misquoting you, but then I realized if I was going to be an actor, someone had to hire me. But if I was a stand-up, I could just go and do it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Yeah, that was good. Yeah. And then I got the Village Voice and I looked in the back and there was an ad for the New York Comedy Club's open mic kind of situation. And if I brought a couple friends to sit in the audience, I could go on stage. And that's what I did. June 12th, 1993.
But it's so funny because I remember you as a young comic, and I started in the 80s. I guess I did my first set in 82. I was at college, but I remember we never had to bring anyone. And that whole policy of you can't get on stage here unless you bring people in was just awful. It's awful. I think it really had a profound effect on some comedians who could have been great but couldn't fill the fucking. It's awful.
Yeah, I was lucky that I had friends, and
I know, you gotta have friends,
and that people were excited to come and do it.
Where was your first set?
New York Comedy Club in the old location above the Cowboy Bar.
Right. Well, I didn't have to work there. I was. You worked as a busboy.
I did.
At Orchards.
Yes.
Was that New Jersey?
That was New Jersey in a Hilton hotel.
And you did. So did you work? And then while you were doing your stand-up, were you?
Yeah. Well, the Orchards, that was when I was a teenager.
Yeah,
I was like 16.
Right.
And then when I was, my mother, like I said, had that small advertising agency in New Jersey.
Yeah. What was the name of it?
E. Papa Associates.
Nice. Elaine
Papa. And I worked there until I made enough money to do stand-up.
And she knew that that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And what did your father?
But they also were never, it was a foreign, being a comedian, anything in acting, the arts was like a foreign country. So it was like, well, I think they were quietly hoping maybe he'll just get a job and make enough money where he'll just keep working.
Right.
And they didn't realize that comedy was just as stable as any other job, ultimately.
Right. And especially now during COVID-19.
Yeah.
You did your first set. You got your first now, did you know Cynthia yet?
No, not yet.
By the way, listeners, Cynthia's his wife. Who's fucking greatest person, beautiful, just a great person. So, all right. So it's 1993. You do your first set.
Yeah.
Who's there? Do you remember who was there?
Yeah. Gary. Oh, he went to work with Kimmel. I always forget his last name. Gary, he used to hold up pictures and put his nose through like it was like a picture of a baby with a cutout, and he put his nose through it.
Oh fuck! All right, I don't know.
I always space on his name. He's such a nice guy.
Did he?
I think he still works at Kimmel. So he was hosting, and the only other comic on the show was Greg Giraldo, who is waiting in the wings.
Wow!
Little baby face Greg, no facial hair, sweating profusely because he was so nervous to go on. And we became instant friends. And
rest in peace.
Yeah. And that was it. He was like my best comedy friend, and we just became pals immediately. Exchanged numbers, and I went up and did my set, and I watched him do his set, and he had a funny joke about the Fantasy Island.
Right.
and then we just became friends, and we would just encourage each other to go out and do shows all the time.
Were you living in New Jersey at the time?
I was living in New Jersey.
A lot of people don't, when you mention, like for your parents, it was like so foreign that you would.
Yeah.
I grew up in New Jersey, 27 miles from Manhattan. And
Where
my mother,
you again?
Clark.
Where? Clark.
And my mother grew up in Manhattan, and then they ended up having to move there, which to the detriment of my childhood. And this idea, when you say my parents knew nothing, like there are people who live 15 minutes away from Manhattan who know nothing about, who don't go. There were so many people like, I'm not going to go to New York. I'm not going to get killed in New York. What is that? It's like literally.
No, there are parts of South Jersey that feel like the Deep South.
Right.
I mean, it's like, no, going to New York is like going to Europe.
Right.
For people in New Jersey, for a large part.
It's just it's fascinating. Yeah. So you and Greg it's always, I remember, Comedy U Grand. Were you around when Comedy U Grand was around? No, it was gone. You would have loved that club. Oh, yeah. I was emceeing the night, and I've said this before on the podcast, but David Tell is like, yes, I know, Judy. But I was there the night I was hosting the night David Tell did his first set.
Wow, that's amazing.
He was a student at NYU. Every time I see him, I go, I was there. And she's like, I know, Judy. But
it's so great.
Yeah, but it's like those people you started with, there's a bond like you can't, it's like you were in war. You were in a bunker with them.
I know.
So you and Greg become friends and start supporting each other, and you're still working in New Jersey and then coming to the city at night?
Yeah, exactly.
And how long does that go on? Who do you meet? Where do you pass at first? What clubs did you?
Stand Up New York was the big one with Carrie Hoffman.
Carrie Hoffman.
That was the big one.
Call him Coffee Breath Man.
Yeah, he was so nice to me in the beginning.
That's where when I think of you in those days.
Yeah, I think of you too there.
Standing by the front. Remember Suzanne, his wife Suzanne, used to like stretch and do her ballet moves.
That's right.
But
the smell of that place was so distinct.
I know.
And I was so excited because before I was a comedian, when I was there, like in New Jersey, trying to figure out if I was going to be a comedian, I watched you do a set on Caroline's or something,
right?
And was like so blown away, and with the curl and the whole thing.
Oh,
and I
God,
was just so in love with you before I was even a comedian, and then to be at Stand Up New York and like hanging around by you, it really opened my eyes. Like this is like a trap door into show business.
Right?
There's no reason I should be hanging out with Judy Gold already.
Oh my God, I love you, Thomas. You know what's so funny? I remember when I was in college and I had done a talent show at Rutgers, and that's how, and Adrian Tolsch, Bill Sheft, and Larry Ambrose did this show, and I got to do 5 minutes on it. Anyway, so Adrian, I've said this story a million times, was the open mic host.
Right.
At Catch a Rising Star. And she's like, come in on a Monday. And I would go in every Monday. Anyway, and I remember walking in and I was like, I can't even drink yet. I'm too young to drink. I can't rent a car, like I'm 19 and I'm standing there and Carol Leifer walks in and I'm like, oh my, and Ronnie Shakes. Do you remember Ronnie Shakes?
No, someone just talks about him like yesterday.
Oh, he was so funny. And I remember I saw Larry David there and Seinfeld. I mean, but I remember looking at Carol Lee Friends, and I had just seen her on The Tonight Show.
Oh, wow.
Was it Letterman or The Tonight? And I was like, oh my God. And I thought, I'm going to be where they are. Like when you're you think, oh, I'll be on this next year. You don't really.
It really gave you that sense because I carry, at Stand Up New York, all of a sudden I moved up pretty quickly from the bringer shows.
Yeah.
And Carrie started hosting, letting me host the shows.
Right.
And that was like the first step into the regular shows where I didn't have to bring people.
Right.
And one night I was on stage and it was Ray Romano, Brett Butler, and Jon Stewart, who wasn't Jon Stewart yet.
He was John Lifschultz.
And
it's John.
No, that was Jeff Ross.
Lifschultz, Jeff Ross, yeah.
But I was just like, I'm on the same stage with these people. If I remember thinking, if I could just get as many laughs as they're getting, I could probably stay here. Like they'll probably let me stay. Like they're putting us on this equal playing field, and it seems like, well, maybe it's up to me. It's not up to a casting director. It's up to me.
Right.
It's very exciting. But Carrie, he put me in all those shows early on, and then I moved over to. Then I got past the comic strip, and then I was too scared to go to the Comedy Cellar for years, so I just went back and forth the comic strip and Stand Up New York, and then eventually went downtown to the Cellar.
It's so funny that you say. It just makes me think that our community is so small.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, there is sort of this level playing field. It's all about just getting the laughs and doing the work. And and the fact that you were hosting, like people don't realize when I started in the 80s, like the host was the star of the show.
Right.
And the host is also probably the most important part of a show. It sets the tone, hosting, and you become a better comic the more you host, because when you get on stage anew so many times. And when you do a bit, the bit has to be strong enough to stand on its own. It can't,
and be conversational. I thought that was the thing for hosting for me. It made me go from conversational to now it is a joke. It merged those two together and made me, that was the biggest creative solve for hosting.
And there's so many people who can't host, and there's so many people who can't who are just hosts. You know what I mean?
Right.
To be able to meld those two, it's like the perfect storm.
Yeah. But then at a certain point, you're like, okay, I've learned all my lessons from this.
Right.
Now I'm not going to host anymore.
Right.
Thank you so much for listening to part 1 of Kill Me Now with my friend Tom Papa. Make sure to tune in next week for part 2. If you like the show, which how could you not, please make sure to subscribe and leave a review. It helps more people find this amazing podcast. 5 stars only, please. And if you haven't had the chance to pre-order my new book, yes, I can say that. When they come for the comedians, we're all in trouble. It's available for pre-order now and will be released on July 28th. I also just finished recording the audiobook, and it's going to be great. Booklist, which is a very important website, reviewer company. It's for all the librarians. They reviewed the book and said that it's a powerful and powerfully funny argument in support of how vital free speech is to comedy and comedy is to us. So there you go. It would mean so much to me if you would check it out. All pre-order links are on the homepage of judygold.com or wherever books are sold. And as always, make sure to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram for all upcoming virtual dates at Judy Gold, at JEWDYGOLD, like Jew Gold. And please stay safe, stay healthy, and let's do the right thing. And as we always say, so long!
Don't forget to tune in next week to Just Kill Me Now.
It's Just Kill Me.
Oh. Don't forget to turn for part 2 on Just Kill Me.
No, it's not. It's
Just Kill Me.
No.
Judy Gold's Just Kill Me.
Just.
Just Kill Me Now.